Hello everyone, my name is Amanda and welcome to my channel. Now that all the stores are closed, including thrift shops, I have taken a look at my pile of clothes that I don't use anymore. So in a way, it's like I have my own little thrift store. Anyway, I found two items that I am pretty confident I can do something to. I found this black maxi skirt with pockets, and I'm gonna keep those. But there's something weird about the cut of it, and the seams are just awkward. So I'm gonna remake that to a layered mini skirt. And the second item is this red sweater vest that I actually found in my grandfather's closet. But I haven't used it yet, so I'm going to try to do some embroidery around the neckline, I think. So those are the plans so far, and let's just get into it. So the plan is to cut off the bottom of the skirt and use the fabric at the base of the skirt for the ruffle. Then I'll gather this bottom piece of fabric to match the top portion. I started by measuring out the length from the top of the skirt to the widest point on my hips. And that was where I ended up cutting across, of course making sure not to interfere with the pockets. I marked with safety pins all the way around the front and back, mostly because I couldn't find my regular pins, and then cut the front and back separately. Oh, and the piece of fabric you can see at the top is the lining, which I've decided to tackle at the end. So for now, I just moved that out of the way. I cut all the way across, first the front and then the back, and I don't know if you can tell, but I left about an extra centimeter of fabric on the back because I really don't want this skirt to be too short. And now we have the top part ready, pockets and all. For the ruffle, I cut off the bottom 20 centimeters of fabric, and the skirt was really wide, so it ended up being quite long. And of course, I just kept the bottom hem because it's less work. I zigzagged the edges to keep them from fraying, and then sewed two straight lines along that same edge, about half a centimeter apart, and with the longest stitch length. I didn't secure the ends either because then I grabbed the two bottom threads and tugged on them gently to gather the fabric. It took me quite a while to gather all the fabric, but with some trial and error I got it down to the right size and could pin everything right sides together on the skirt. I made extra sure that the ruffling wasn't uneven and played around with it until I was happy. If I'm completely honest, I kinda regret not cutting the circumference of the ruffle down a little bit. I think it's just on the edge of being too much. Anyway, I sewed the ruffle to the skirt with a straight stitch right between the two stitches I had placed next to each other. I just took my time and went slowly so I didn't make any mistakes. I managed to run out of bottom thread anyway, but I went back and fixed it. Now I can remove the temporary loose stitches with a seam ripper, and it's really quite satisfying when you can remove the threads in long pieces and then just kind of pull them out. Of course, I can't forget the lining. I just tried on the skirt and marked where I wanted the lining to stop. Then I cut off the excess, leaving 1.5 centimeters of seam allowance. I rolled the hem and secured it with a straight stitch all the way around. And that's it for the skirt. So a lot of people have been leaving comments and asking me about this corset top that I made, and I'm so grateful that you guys liked the video. I really enjoyed making it, and I'm super proud of the product. But unfortunately, I won't be making any more of these to sell because it's simply too time-consuming. So I hope you understand, and if you haven't watched the video yet, then I recommend going to the description box where I'll leave a link to it. But honestly, I received so many amazing comments on that video, and thank you so much for supporting my experiments. So for the vest, I decided not to do any sewing because honestly, I'm terrified of cutting into knit fabrics. I decided to embroider a simple floral design around the neckline instead. I used a dull embroidery needle and 3 strands of thread. I decided not to put any stabilizer on, mostly because I didn't have any. And yeah, I just made some really simple flowers and dots using the few techniques I know. So over the last few months, I've had a job working at different hospitals, including spending time with COVID patients. And as a med student, it's been very interesting, and I'm super grateful to even have a job right now, but the reality of this pandemic really hits you differently when you've seen it firsthand. And I don't want this channel to portray my life as something it's not, because it is a really lonely and hard time right now for everyone. I don't know, I hope that you're all doing okay under the circumstances and taking care of yourselves and your loved ones. On that cheery note, I would love to hear what kind of projects you guys have been working on during this lockdown. Maybe you picked up a new hobby or got really good at something. Whatever it is, please write a comment telling me what you've been up to. As you can probably tell, I have not been embroidering, so maybe that's something I should work on a bit more. No, really, I have no idea what I'm doing. I made this really cool rose by passing the thread through 5 stitches and going over and under every second one. Saw that on Pinterest. And this is how it came out. It's giving me serious Gryffindor vibes and I'm here for it. So this is how my thrift flips turned out and I'm really happy with both of them. I think I'll especially get a lot more use out of the skirt now that it's a bit more youthful and fun. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know I haven't been posting a lot recently, or at all, but I have been going through exams at med school and now they're finally over. Plus, to be honest, it has been kind of hard finding inspiration or motivation when the only thing you see is the inside of your apartment. But hopefully as the days get longer and brighter, I will have more energy to make more videos. If you have any questions or ideas, feel free to leave a comment down below, and otherwise I'll see you in my next video. Bye! It's never ending. Can't give you what you need.